A common question I receive is how to fix muscle and strength imbalances. Perhaps you notice one side of your body is bigger than the other, or you are not as strong with one side of your body compared to the other one. What can you do about this? Today, I will discuss the possible causes of having uneven muscles. I will also discuss 4 practical tips you can use to reduce muscle imbalances. But first, I think it's important to mention that the human body is by definition not 100% symmetrical. In everyday tasks, it is unrealistic to expect using each side of your body equally. In fact, most people in the world have a dominant arm and leg, which is accompanied with some strength imbalances, which is fine as long as the imbalance does not become excessive. It is possible to have muscle imbalances and still be healthy and move pain-free, but if you notice that a muscle imbalance is becoming excessive because one side of your body is significantly larger than the other, or maybe one arm is much stronger than the other, then it's definitely worth looking into reducing the muscle imbalance. So first, what could be causing a muscle imbalance? Most of the time, the root cause of a muscle imbalance is caused outside of the gym. Because when we start a fitness journey, you typically start it off with one side of your body being stronger than the other. You also have better motor control and, so to speak, mind-muscle connection with the dominant side of your body because you use it more often in everyday tasks. Combine this with a lot of barbell and machine-based exercises in which both sides of your body have to work together, it is possible your dominant side is being trained harder. Your posture could also be impacting how well each side of your body is being trained. Say for example that I am experiencing a shoulder drop. This impacts how well I am able to engage my lats with one side being trained harder than the other. Or if you have one shoulder that is rounded forward slightly, this can result in a crooked bench press in which one side is again being trained harder. And lastly, some imbalances don't really have to do much with the way you move but are mostly genetic. A good example is having abs that are not symmetrical. This is typically not because you are doing your ab training in the wrong way, but simply because the rectus abdominis muscle looks a bit different on each side, which we can't fix since that is your anatomical structure. But I'd say that most people coming to me with muscle imbalances questions is more about topics like one bicep being bigger than the other or one leg being stronger than the other, and that is definitely still fixable. So what I want to do, I want to give you 4 practical tips that you can use to reduce muscle imbalances. The first fix is doing more dumbbell and one-sided exercises. Barbell and dumbbell training both have their benefits. Let's take a bent over row as an example. With a barbell, both arms work together, which typically makes you able to lift more weight. With a dumbbell, each arm works individually, which helps if you want to correct muscle and strength imbalances. So if you're doing exercises like the barbell bench and standing overhead press and you're finding that consistently one side is working harder than the other, transition to dumbbell benching and shoulder pressing. Each arm will have to carry its own weight. If you feel like your muscle imbalances are quite severe, specifically doing one arm and one leg exercises is of value. So think about doing one arm rows with a dumbbell or cable and doing one arm kneeling shoulder press. This allows you to focus on each side of your body at a time. The same goes for leg training. If you're doing the leg press and you clearly feel one leg working harder than the other, perform split squats instead to train each leg individually. Now, you can still do barbell exercises if you want to reduce a muscle imbalance, but I suggest that at least half of the exercises you use are either dumbbell-based or unilateral to allow you to balance the uneven muscle groups. So as an example, if you want to reduce imbalances in your bicep, a good rule of thumb is to have at least half of your bicep exercises be dumbbell-based or single arm. The second fix is training your weaker side first whenever you do single arm or single leg exercises. Let's take the split squats as an example. If I start my set with a dominant leg, my dominant leg will be trained while I have more energy, so it can be trained harder. Once you get to the weaker leg, you probably feel tired and can't perform as many reps. So start with your weaker side so that you can use more energy towards it. The same goes for exercises like one arm dumbbell shoulder pressing. Start with the weaker arm and over time muscle and strength will catch up to the other side of your body. The third fix is a bit more specific, and that is working on the postural issues you have that may be impacting how well you can train a certain muscle group. For instance, I gave the example of having a shoulder drop in which one side of your lats is being trained harder than the other. If this is due to a mobility issue because perhaps one side of your lats is tight and also your obliques are quite tight, then you can benefit from mobilizing this area. In this case, you can consider foam rolling and stretching your lats and obliques. Another good example is having poor ankle mobility on just one leg. This can result in you placing more weight on one leg at the bottom of a squat, creating a hip shift. Mobilizing your tight ankles before squatting is one way you can work around the tight ankles. Another way you can find out if the exercises you do are performed in a somewhat crooked way is by filming yourself whenever you do the big compound movements. That helps you identify any imbalances that there may be in your form, and from that point on you can more specifically target any mobility issues you might be facing. The fourth and last fix is more related to how you approach your exercises. Sometimes it's better to reduce the weight so that you can have more control and focus on training each side equally. This is especially the case on barbell exercises in which it is hard to feel your weaker side work. It can help to focus on your weaker side whenever you do an exercise like bicep curls to make sure that the weaker side is engaged and being worked too. So if your right side tends to take over, actively think about engaging the left side. But this is only possible if you use manageable weights. If you take on more weight than you can handle, naturally the stronger side will take over. To better feel your weaker side working, it can also help to have a longer warm-up on the weaker side of your body. For instance, if you feel your left lat working less hard, perform 1 to 2 extra sets of banded straight arm pull downs to prepare that muscle for training. So to sum it all up, there are 4 fixes for a muscle imbalance. Incorporate more dumbbell and single arm or leg based exercises. When you do one-sided exercises, start with the weaker side first. Also, film yourself to see if you are performing any exercises in a crooked way. And lastly, use weights you can control on barbell movements to be able to focus on engaging your weaker side. And that is all for today's video. This topic was requested by many of you, so I hope this was helpful. If you found this video valuable, then leave me a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video.